I know I have one little story, and then we're gonna get to the verse of the day. But and this is not bragging on myself or anything as far as this story. You know, it kind of shows some of my, you know, my thorns in the flesh also. But it wasn't at the job that I'm at now. It was a different job, and there was a guy who had a bad attitude, and me, I don't like that. Growing up, I'm not saying I was a Kimbo Slice out there fighting, but like I had that.
But you gonna lay them paws on. You gonna put them paws on.
I'm that guy that I'll talk and get beat up and keep talking. I'm one of them guys.
Scary movie too.
I'm one of them guys that but of course God changed my life. Don't get it twisted, but like I'm like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like once if you have got me to the point to where I want to fight, and it's not blaming them, it's all on me. I'm not saying it's other people's fault, but if I'm to the point where I want to fight, it's for a reason and whatever. Like, it's whatever. You know what I'm saying?
It's up.
It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Kanye.
We some hair busters. Listen, but anyway.
I was about to.
This was relatively recent. So this was relatively recent, guys. Me, 30-year-old, follower of Christ. I'm just letting you know, thorns. It's relatively recent. There was a guy who's had a bad attitude, and there's been one time where I was talking to a coworker, and he's like, "Hey, what are you talking to him for?" I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm talking to him." You know what I'm saying? Like little stuff like that. And that one, let it go. Another time, he'll like look like it. I'm telling you, it was time after time after time after time. If you fall, I would. It was multiple. It wasn't like this. And then one time, we were walking out the door or something. He just flung the door, and it literally almost hit me. And right then, you know, whenever we make a decision, it's like we have that time before the decision. Like, am I gonna take it there or not? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like, Lord, no. Like, He always provides a way out. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes at that time I really didn't take it. I did, but not really. I'm just being real. But I thought about it. I was like, this guy again. I was like, this ain't the first. Like, this ain't even the fifth time. I was like, you know what? And I walked up to him and I just looked at him. I was like, hey, watch where you going. Watch what you doing. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, watch what you doing. That's the kind of guy I am. I don't cuss out. I haven't cussed in so long, thank God. But it's like I don't get angry. I'm not the angry like, I'm just like, I'm angry. You can see it in my soul, and I'm just looking at you. And I was like, hey, watch what you're doing. Watch where you're going. He's like, what do you mean? I said, watch what you're doing. He said, I'm not sorry. I said, I don't care if you're sorry. I said, watch what you're doing. And literally, I stood there and just stared at him for about 3 minutes. Just looked at him.
That's anger right there.
And I just looked at him.
Straight rage.
And I wanted to do this and that. You know what I'm saying? But I just looked at him. And I was just breathing, just looking at him.
Trying to control yourself.
Yeah. And I was just looking. Not like that, but I was just just looking, give him that look. And then literally, no exaggeration, at least 3 minutes just standing there at work, just looking at him. What kind of weird stuff is that?
He was just looking back, like
he was like looking down, like, okay. I was like, and I didn't say a word to him. I just looked at him. He's like, okay, what are we doing here? And I just looked at him, and then he was just looked down, looked away, and then finally I just walked and left. And then, not granted, a lot of people saw this that were at the job. The next day, I'm going somewhere with this. Not just a horror flick. I'm not describing a horror movie. But anyway, the next day, I saw him. And then when I got home, I was convicted. I talked to Aisha about it. I was like, man, I did too much. I shouldn't have. She was like, yeah, like, you know, we talked about it and everything. And then I saw him the next day, and I walked up to him. I said, look, I'm sorry. In front of people, too. I'm the type of guy I was taught, like, if you're bold enough to show out in front of people, be bold enough to apologize in front of people. You know what I'm saying? Be bold enough to take it where you took it, but in a good way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing.
Energy.
Yeah. Showing out in front of people, and then when no one's around, you're like, hey, I'm sorry. All right, bye. Like, take it there where you took, you know what I'm saying? So there are people around and everything, and I apologized to him. And then they said, man, why you apologize to him? He always has a bad attitude. I said, it's all for Jesus. I said, if it wasn't for Jesus, I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? But Jesus forgave me, so I forgive him, and I apologize because I messed up too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Regardless, it doesn't judge. what he did not justify my actions. You know what I'm saying? That was something that I made the wrong decision to do. And I thank God we didn't fight and it didn't lead to all types of other stuff, but it could have easily. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm getting to is like at the workplace. Like I'm not bragging on myself, but because I was called to humble myself, because I was called to apologize, to forgive and all that, I did that. And I did that in front of people, and they asked me why I do that. And I said, because of Christ. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's what I'm getting. That's my main point to that. Because if it wasn't for him, why forgive? Mm-hmm. If we didn't follow Christ, why forgive? Yeah. Why love? If it ain't got nothing to do with me, why love? Why love them? Who are they to me? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh well, he asked for it. He had a bad attitude. Yeah, I'll do it again. Why? You know, if it's not for Christ, that's the mind state to have. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What other mind state is there to have? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that reminded me of something. I forgot his name exactly, but I watched this guy who debates with, like, I think he's like a college teacher and he does debates. I think it's like a theology class or something. Mm-hmm. And you don't see the whole study, but like you'll see their debates. And one of the main things, like when people say they're atheists and they'll question him, he'll ask them that about your morals, and he'll ask them like, where do you think that came from? Like, how do you know it's not all right to kill? How do you know? And God says it's written on our hearts. And just like you just said, like, how do we know? Like, if we didn't have God, why would we forgive somebody? What motives would we have to do the right things?
The list goes on and on.
Right.
Why, if I didn't believe in God, if it wasn't under him, why not cheat on my wife? Why not? Let's say I won't get caught. Why not? If it wasn't for God, why not? Why not steal? Oh, Darius has his wallet right there. Why not take the $200,000 in his wallet? He rich.
You're gonna get him robbed.
Why not? Right? Why not?
Why not?
There's no reason why not to. Other than him. Other than we serve someone higher. Other than we answer to someone higher than anyone here. You know what I'm saying? That's why.
That's a good reason.
In the world, not of the world. Yeah, it's good and late.